I could continue from here, that because you clearly say, Fabian, that you are like a data provider for somebody else who's providing services, or like the end user service, the kind of did I understand right that you like I'm kind of think that all of you who wants the customer, who wants to be in kind of getting data from the customer behavior, who's kind of providing the data to the others. So because it doesn't apply to the Syriac one, but like, are you a platform, or do you want to have what kind of relationship do you want to have with the customer?
Yeah. We are like neutral, but we collect the data, so we have it first hand, and then we make it available to any third party. So I think in this regard, yes, we are a kind of platform, and we are happy to feed the data to anyone, any third party, any supplier, any company like Hello Data who could be interested in this kind of data. So we are a kind of platform, and the supplier of energy is also one. And we are neutral in this regard.
How about Fed? Do you want to do like reply from your point of view?
Because we are an authorization platform, and our motto is we don't use or have the data if you do not have permission to use the have data, because it is from the customers at home. We explicitly don't own data. If the customer chooses to give someone permission for the data, some third party or some application. Currently we're building that in our architecture, that the data goes not through us, but from another way around. So we only control whether that entity has the proper authorizations to gather the data from the source, from the owner of the data. And we are very careful in not doing anything with the data or even saving it somewhere. So.
Okay, but you are providing your you have an app for the end user. No, not at all. That's fine.
Currently, we have apps for end users, but those are our like apps to let everybody demonstrate that it works. But our goal is not to have our own applications.
Yeah. But some you do, and can you see that you could utilize any data from these platform providers? It might be a bit far-fetched to get kind of energy data and real data, but anyway, but you want to be the one who's close to the customer, but you, at least the city would like to get some data from you. So how do you see that?
Yeah, so we do have our primary focus is the consumer. So we believe in this consumer choice, and we want to provide the best possible service to the consumer. Our business model is directly subscription from the consumer. We're not out there to monetize any of the data. So for us, the better margin is to be directly on the consumer's pocket. But as we of course are building this ecosystem, and it's a kind of a give and take. Say we work with the local public transit authority, for example. They are very interested in optimizing their network and planning the routes and schedules, and they have peaks and off peaks, and they want to understand how to provide a better service, which ultimately ends up benefiting everybody. So this is the data that essentially we will be accumulating, and we're looking at ways how we can actually share that in order to benefit the ecosystem as a whole. At the moment, we don't have that policy in place, so it's a kind of an asset that could be taken into use, but we don't want to run into it with anything like in consumer space. So that's kind of where I think we need some common understanding on how to make use of the data in an anonymous fashion to improve the service. You want to pitch into that?
Yeah, sounds about the same as our point of view. I might add that one of our principles is that we do have to be in contact with the passengers because they will be riding our buses anyway. and we have to provide some kind of basic service. And what we mean by basic service will change in time, but basically we have to enable the experimentation and then learn from that. And then when the level of service that people expect, for instance, regarding personalization, when that increases, then we have to also make our basic service better.
That is, I guess it kind of, it's because you have also your own loyalty program and services you want to kind of discuss with the customers. I think that those are the interesting things. How do you, when we go to the profiling and learning from how the people are behaving in the everyday life, so then it comes to, but then there might be some moments where you need to really be clear that who's providing. We would like to say data is flowing freely from service. But what, and then we come back to what is the public sector like role. Should we have a city app or HSL app or Mars service? At least I think we will have all of those, but kind of, I don't know how you see where we are going. You can comment on that where we're going, but also like that how do you see the standardization in that? You see that the profiling data is. Well, let's see that what is there something missing from that? So, is it already solved, or if I want to, for example, I have an energy utility. I'm using somebody's energy, and I want to change the other one. I think I lose all the data in that, all my profiling information at the moment. It's like changing banks, so I can do it, but the money stays in the bank, and I have to start from scratch. So it's so how do you see the standardization?
I think that's kind of like your own data, and you put it in a storage somewhere. It can be utilized from Hello Data perspective, I think, but that would be just another service that adds to the data, and the service that it will deliver, so it stores the data so you can use it for another, if you switch from your energy supplier or something like that. But we are not, in Hello Data we are not looking at saving energy data for, or other data for a different time. So if there is no authorization, there's also no data flow.
Yeah, I guess when it comes to this kind of real-time energy metering or water metering, as an occupant, I would be very concerned on who would get the grant of the data. And currently in Kansatama, the data is not even stored. You can only go back 2 weeks in history, and then it disappears from the world. And well, one reason can be that there is not much use for the historical data right now, but other things also, like if there would be so much history available, and that would kind of go hacked. Insurance companies, for example, could be very interested on it, and those kind of things. So it's such a, like, you can profile so well your year and your habits and so on. So it's yeah, I guess it's one thing to think if we really need to store all of the data, because then if it's real time, then there's already services that you need to go from place to place now. And it doesn't really maybe matter that all the history data. So that's just one.
And from our perspective, it's different because we need the data to build on our network, to manage it, to intervene when there is a failure. So we will keep the data. And we will just transmit it when needed. But we will keep it.
Regarding standardization, I would ask that I think we're still early finding the exact models of how this works from the customer perspective and what kind of data operators there will be. So at this point I wouldn't standardize, I would collaborate with all the different models, of all the different platforms, and then in the end we'll see which one of them will win.
You see that that's like work that can be, that's not, I mean, that standardization help your work. You don't see it, not at the moment. No need to wait for that. So.
Yeah, not at the moment. Yeah.
I mean, should be like.
Yeah, I think that's well said. And you know, I've been a part of standardization, and I know that it tends to take a long time and may or may not address the current business need. So yeah, I think, you know, this kind of a, you know, let's look one by one approach is a good one, because we don't know exactly what the questions are. So of course the kind of thing is, what I like to do here is do this together with the users and do it in a way that makes sense for the user in this sort of a, you know, service model that you know, if the user sees value in it, then let's keep building on it. If there's no value, let's think of something else.
How about audience? Any questions, any thoughts? No, quite quiet. How would you like to use this kind of data? So, who should provide it to you? The bank or insurance company, or is it nice to have a kind of 5 different applications and for different uses? I guess I can see the energy utility thing is kind of I think what I heard from you that it's people are not. I mean, 1 out of 5 quite a lot go to the website, but how many are really daily using it? So I think if you need this kind of dashboard or easy way to get the data, all data about my life.
So from what I've read, people are more interested in the energy data when they can compare themselves to others, especially with the smart meters. So, and I'm wondering if we don't need some kind of mediation, human mediation, to improve the way people use the data, so that you don't just provide the data by itself, but you provide it in a context where people are trying to do things collectively in a building or in a neighborhood, or I don't know. It's just a question. So if you need human mediation for intensive use of that data. Yeah.
I think the raw data, you can improve that by statistics or by algorithms in order to be better used by the applications. And we were thinking about that when building our platform, like a side way where we have applications, again, granted permission to use the data, that take the data from a lot of households and make, for example, statistical data from it. So that data can then be used to compare regions, or for instance, we get raw data, and maybe some companies can work with us to find that raw data, distill what is the washing machine, what is the components that use the data. So again, that's then a new data set that we can provide, which would be most helpful, I think, for all of applications. So that's, I don't know, human mediator, but like a...
There were 2 questions in my question, so you answered one. Thanks.
I guess what I would find interesting is to explore like the role of community in demand side management in like a kind of a future grid. So how could we like kind of communally manage the energy peaks? And then there is, I guess, an opportunity to merge the mobility data and energy data, in a sense that then if there's a peak, then, you know, with like what kind of roads do you choose, then maybe the electric car is not then an option or something like that. So there could be a field to explore.
And yeah, and I agree that the raw data is not enough often to induct like good energy consumption behaviors. It's necessary, but it's not enough. And of course, I agree that that human mediation can help a lot. We did an experiment in Guatemala in which we had mediators of the city who came to the people's house premises and to advise them based on the data they had. And that's really helpful because now they see someone, they change, and they have a better understanding of what's good and what's not good. And what's interesting is just to come back on the data after the visit of this mediator, and they say they're very they're enthusiastic. They say they will go back on the website, check the data later on, and they don't actually. So for some people, it's really human mediation and nothing else. And the mediator will take the data from the customer and analyze it and give it some insight, and the customer won't use the raw data.
Yeah, it's a pity how difficult it is to anonymize these data sets properly. Energy data, likewise mobility data. So I think that's something we still need to continue to do, because this being able to anonymize the data and then publishing it openly as open data is still going to be an important part of this. Just having this my data of individuals doesn't tell us a lot unless we can compare it to this open data from larger masses and anonymize information about city blocks and so on. Combining these all will give us better insights.
Yeah, I was listening to Taavi Kotka earlier today, the CIO of Estonia, and his point was that once you have identities that you can use to combine different sources of data, then things start rolling. And it's kind of easy to agree to that as long as you have the transparency in place. So, I mean, I'm a kind of a technocrat in that sense that it's always interesting to think about what all kinds of data sources you could combine in order to create something new, and that kind of helps if you don't have to have like a human intervention in all these. But having said that, though, it's key that we maintain this kind of a transparency, that people can always audit what's going on with their data and be on track of who has access to their data and who has accessed their data.
Thanks. There's a question there.
Thank you. As a consumer, what I would like to, for example, about the energy consumption, I would like to get these kind of reports pushed to me, and especially if there's something exceptional that I suddenly start spending more energy, because that implies that there's something might be broken, and I would like to know about that sooner rather than later. Also, in my apartment building, we have taken into use some systems for like saving water for everyone, and saving the heating energy. We use this remote heating water thing from this combined power plant. And for a lot of the time, for example, I don't care about when the dishwasher runs. I want them done by, say, tomorrow morning or tomorrow 5 o'clock or whatever. So it would be really nice. I can use a timer now, but I don't have any energy, what the cost of the energy is at any given moment. So it would be nice that I could say that this needs to be done by X, and then the device could see that, okay, this is a good time to run the load for energy-wise.
Clean dishes as a service.
Any comments?
I think it speaks for itself.
Makes sense.
Just one thing is for what you said about alerting systems. We investigated this subject, but what we found is a simple alert will always do false alerts, or it will be useless, and to make alerts that are really useful to the customer, it's really difficult. It's really deep machine learning and real statistic, and it's not. We tried. We experimented the simplest one, and it was a hassle for the customers. Like, for example, the customer who tells himself a limit, and then when the first time it goes over, he looks at it, and the second time he say, oh, my limit is not well set, and then and when we set the limit based on the similar households, they always criticize it. So it's interesting, but we didn't find a good recipe to make it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Any other questions? I'm going on purpose over time, so we got permission for this. So just for a moment, I'm checking from the. There was questions earlier about privacy, and should the people living in the building get the APIs? Anybody wants to elaborate about that? Or talk about here something? Was something unclear still that how? If not, I think that's kind of I think that's something that you need to build, have some trust, and that's always kind of a part of it. But I think it's a long discussion. So, but I'd like to ask about like in the ecosystem for you, like what is missing? What are the actors kind of that you'd like to see there that your thing goes forward? So then, like there must be something. At least we can see that some kind of data operators are. But there are these things like Meko and we are curious is taking all of my sensor data from my Ring and from Moose app and kind of collecting stuff, and it's something, things are happening and data is moving. But who's missing from your side?
I believe maybe just plain like a killer app where we had it. So application which maybe has some financial gain to the customer, or something that everybody really wants to use or actually can't afford not to use. That's missing, and maybe a part of it is legislation. In Holland, there's talk about the soldering, so that for the energy produced in your home, if you give it back to the grid, it's the same price as you take energy from the grid, so you can free of charge use the grid as a battery. And if that legislation would change, then keeping the home produced energy inside your home would be a killer app. And you can do that pretty easy with monitoring what's going on in your house and what kind of loads can you time shift or turn off. So we're really looking to those kind of applications, and I think those kind of applications will be a major shift in the usage of energy data.
Yeah, maybe building on that a little bit. Yeah, the business model I think is still a little immature in that sense that you know, obviously there are companies whose sole business model is data and people's data and monetizing it, and we know that there's inherent value in data. I was just playing with this idea that you know, what's my search history in Google worth to Microsoft in building Bing? So if I was able to turn that around, I'd say, okay, how much are you gonna pay me? I'm not sure if it really needs like a brokership, or is it more like, since we don't know exactly how the schemas go, etc., is it more like business to business kind of transaction? I don't know. At the moment, you know, it's I would be happy to just do this B2B kind of relationship. As a user, I could just move to another service and take my history with me, and perhaps I would get a discount by transferring the data.
Yeah, I think we need more experimentation with real end-user applications that are beneficial. And to get more experimentation, it should be easier. And to make it easier, it looks good at the moment in that these components are beginning to appear. We have some interesting data sets. We have some tools how to relay it, some early data operators and so on. And seeing this continue, I think next year we will be much wiser about how to go about all this.
Yeah, I agree with those, and of course the end user or the kind of data owner, who are the occupants or the people going around, their awareness of the kind of data they are generating. So it's lacking a bit.
And for this one, I'll go with Fitja. Sorry if I mispronounced your name, but what's missing is really a killer app, like something that would give value to the customer and would make him interested in energy consumption, and then help him make good choices, and will take more care about his energy choices.
I think you're reaching, and there's the key learnings thing with the screen I/O. Are you like? Do you want to say something about this? Are there people in? It's a bit hard for me to follow here, but
yes,
are people voting already? So?
Yeah, people
These
are
are the reasons
voting,
that,
and you can also fill in more key lessons if you wish in the screen.io my data.
Yeah, there's 11 online, yes. perfect. So please do if you, there's now, the moment there's a service, great potential to make cities smarter, roaming model, and then the IoT in the buildings is a great potential in making cities more energy efficiency. I think one key learning, at least for me, was here that you're clearly saying, if I understand that data has a flow, but the kind of standardization is not so big thing. Unless somebody disagrees that the main thing is to experiment, do things, go forward. But,
Let's do it.
I think it's a good learning. So slowly go towards standardization if needed. Because there's a lot of talking. I'm talking too much about, or not maybe too much, but I'm talking about standardization. Maybe sometimes it's a bit. Even though we talk about harmonization, the big standards are there, not to standardize, but to. Maybe that's something that the public sector can do. That we can kind of a big standards that we make mainstream. If it makes sense, then we need to discuss with the other stakeholders to do the right choice. And, I think that's one of the key learnings. And then any other history, like next steps. We previously talked about that how should we, is there some kind of work needed that you can get your things forward also? So is there kind of are we all properly organized, or should we need some kind of a task force to do something? Last comment, or you can miss anything, any other thing you don't, whatever what would you like to see happening within the next year?
I don't know. Well, I see some really nice initiatives that are taking care, and I don't know if the move forward is to join all forces or just have multiple horses to bet on. I believe in the second one. So, of course, work together, also cross-functional mobility and energy. But just as Tuula said, experiment. And experimentation goes by doing a lot of separate things that look the same but still are quite separate. And I think we will have much benefit from that in the coming years.
Yeah, I second that, and as a call to action, I raised that we should sit down and work with another kind of a mobility service, and perhaps energy sector could come in as well, and let's do something that brings value to the table and value to the consumer, and I think that's the right way to go. What would help us at the moment operationally would essentially be let us buy your tickets. That's kind of our call to action to all operators of all kinds of transport, and that's kind of our number one factor that limits our growth. So yeah, that's why I think open APIs and business enablers. That's kind of how I would like to take the discussion from the sort of the openness point of view.
I hope there's some My Data 2017 next year. The killer app may very well be combining these My Data from different fields, which is the reason why currently when we work from in different fields, we haven't found it yet. So I see a lot of potential there.
Or maybe what I'd like to change in the next years is that European countries get together and try to find a common approach to energy data, so that when something is developed in one country, it can be easily developed in other countries, so that we can have one single market for energy data, and not small ones in each country.
Yeah, like there is this district in Kalasatama which has this cool data, and then you have this cool platform. So, but that's in Netherlands. So, how can we mix that? So it would be good to. Yeah,
that's not a problem.
Exactly.
Sounds good. And I think we can wrap it up. So one more thing, there are thematic dinners today, so there are plenty of dinners. Please choose one. They are self-paid, so everybody pays themselves, but the organizers have organized their research restaurants, and one of them is around this smart city. So we can continue these discussions if you're interested, or then there are also other thematic dinners. So check the website and please join us. And otherwise, I have to thank you. Thank you for the audience, participants. Thank you for the panelists. It's a pleasure.